Hello dear viewer, the third Olsen twin Murdoch X here with a PlayStation 2 collection update. Finished off a couple of sets this round and only gave up on one game earlier than I should have. First up is SpiderMan 2, the most beloved of the Spider-Man games on the PlayStation 2, of which there seems to be 6. I have the 3 core games, but only one of the spin-offs. Bruce Campbell is back to spice up the tutorial with his golden voice, and this game was difficult to find. Some games are so popular that they're everywhere, like Grand Theft Auto, but then there are games like this that people don't ever sell. I'm still waiting for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to drop in price, and that game has been out for over 2 years now, but back to Spider-Man. This is the highest rated game of all 6, and it's a joy to play. The controls are perfect. You can feel gravity pull you to the side that you've slung your web to, and the battle system is also a joy. I love webbing up bad guys. This is also a must-own game. I'm glad that I was lucky enough to run into a copy. Next up is Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. I love the first season of the television show, but the game looks kinda bad, so I put this one off for a long time. Now that I've played it, I can say that I'm happy that the American voice cast has returned to reprise their roles. The controls in this game are fine, but I wasn't happy with the stage design. In the first level, you have to access this computer to open this gate, which I tried to do before exploring to see if I was missing something. It turns out you have to walk right next to the gate before you can use the computer to unlock the gate. The next part of the stage had an obnoxious jump that required waiting a long time for the platform to come back, and I quit playing. I'm not entirely sure I was even going the right direction. I'm sure there's fun to have in this game, but what little I played felt like a chore. Despite all of that, you should watch the first season of Standalone Complex. It's amazing. Next up is the PS2 classic Ratchet Clank Run, Punch, and Shoot, in one of the games that became a staple in the new wave of platforming titles. Destroy robots, steal their bolts, and exchange these metal guts for upgrades. That's gruesome Ratchet Clank, but the good robot is cute. I wonder if the other robots hold it against him. You know, for the murder stuff. Also added to the collection this month is Ratchet & Clank Size Matters. Judging by that name, the team behind this title knew that they had a flaccid game. This is a port of a handheld game and the lowest rated of all 4 Ratchet & Clank titles on the PS2. Don't get me wrong, the game is fine and it's worth owning. This title has a couple of features that help with modern television, and that's the ability to switch to a 16:9 aspect ratio, and it also has a progressive mode option for the video output. Thanks to this and the previous Ratchet & Clank game, I now own half of them available for the PS2. The 2 remaining games that I don't have are the highest rated ones, so I look forward to playing them. Let's keep this platforming game streak going with Rayman 3. I have 2 of the 4 Rayman games on PS2 now. Why don't I have Raving Rabbids? I love those little guys. This iteration in the Rayman series is good, I think. This is only the second one I've ever played. I hear that Rayman 2 is the best, so after I acquire that one, I will report back. I'm a bit platformed out this week, which may have something to do with playing Jak 3. There are 5 games in the Jak and Daxter series on PlayStation 2, and each release scored a little bit worse than the one before it. I am sure that this is a great game, but the first stage is annoying as hell and I quit playing. As much as I love starting a stage over after failing a jump that's hard to measure, a man can only take so much lava in one day. I'm sure I'll give this game another shot sometime, but I played it enough to count it towards my collection total. And now for a platformer game. Pitfall: The Lost Expedition, a sequel to the Atari game. Turns out there are a bunch of Pitfall sequels that I've never heard of. They took the classic game of jumping over pits by swinging on vines and made it 3D. It's better than I was expecting, but having grown up in the NES era, I always kind of tune out when I hear Atari. Thanks to Ready Player One, I've gone back and played some fantastic games that I didn't know about, like Adventure, but that lingering feeling of it's old and boring is still there. But I'm not here to bash the company that almost ruined the entire gaming industry. I'm here to talk about every PlayStation 2 game ever released in North America, and now I have one more of them. As always, I saved the best for last, and this month that game is Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. I now have every Tony Hawk game for the PlayStation 2, including the one that we don't talk about, which starts with D and ends with Downhill Jam. Some of the humor in this game doesn't age well, and there's always the debate about what the best way to hand out challenges is, but this game is a classic and it's tons of fun. One of the new things they tried this round is loading tunnels. There are tubes that connect stages together so that you can continue skating, grinding, and performing manuals on your way to the next area. I think I would rather just have a load screen, but there is this bus which will take you from stage to stage this way. In the story for this game, you are a skater who lands in Los Angeles and has a rough time, but thanks to your skateboarding skills, you get in with a team of fellow kick-flipping enthusiasts and then go on mission after mission of robbing the city of its landmarks in order to improve your skate park. Like Pokemon. Gotta catch 'em all. I think that I prefer Underground 1 and 2, but the truth is I'll play any of these all day, and that's what I did. I made it about a third of the way through this game in one session. It's too bad that they took development away from Neversoft. Tony Hawk games developed by Robomoto are awful. Why? Why did they ruin this franchise? I would have happily kept buying every new Tony Hawk game year after year if all they did was add new stages and story. Get rid of the dumb slow-mo thing, keep online play, and we'd all jump back in. I miss skateboarding games, but I do have most of the good ones now. I don't have the first two games, but I have all of the good ones that came after. Life is good. With 8 new titles added to my collection of PlayStation 2 games released in North America, I now have 724 out of 1,795 for a total of 40.3%. Only 176 more games to go until I get to the halfway mark. On that note, I just found out my favorite game store in town is offering curbside sales during the pandemic, so I may take a trip there in the near future. Thank you for joining me on this adventure to own every PlayStation 2 game released in North America. Please help me out by subscribing, and I will see you in May.